My name is Victoria. I'm 38 years old, and this is the story of how my cheating ex-husband tried to steal my business and how I made sure he walked away with nothing. I met my ex-husband, Christopher, when I was 28. I just started my own digital marketing agency working out of my apartment with 2 employees. Christopher was charming, ambitious, and supportive, or so I thought. We got married 2 years later. By then, my business had grown to 15 employees and was generating over $1 million in annual revenue. Christopher was working as a sales manager at a tech company, making decent money, but nothing compared to what my business was bringing in. I'll admit, I made a mistake. I didn't get a prenup. Christopher said it would show I didn't trust him, and I was too in love to push back. My lawyer warned me, but I ignored her. Another mistake? I added Christopher to the business bank accounts for emergencies and gave him access to company finances. He promised he'd never touch anything without asking. He was my husband. I trusted him. For 8 years, our marriage seemed solid. My business continued to grow. We now had 40 employees and were generating nearly $5 million annually. Christopher's career had stalled, but he said he was happy being the supportive husband while I built my empire. Then, about a year ago, I started noticing changes. Christopher was distant. He'd go to work events that lasted until 2 a.m. He'd get secretive phone calls and step outside to take them. His clothes started smelling like expensive perfume that wasn't mine. I'm not stupid. I knew what was happening. One evening, I came home early from a business trip. Christopher's car was in the driveway, but so was another car I didn't recognize. I quietly let myself in through the back door. I heard voices and laughter coming from our bedroom. My bedroom. The bedroom I paid for with money from my business. I walked upstairs and opened the door. Christopher was in bed with a woman I'd never seen before. Young, blonde, probably mid-20s. They both froze when they saw me. "Victoria," Christopher started. "Get out," I said to the woman. She grabbed her clothes and ran. Christopher sat there, looking pathetic. "How long?" I asked. "Babe, I can explain." "How long?" 6 months. But it doesn't mean anything. "Get out of this house tonight. I want you gone." "This is my house too." "That you didn't pay for. Get out." Christopher left that night. I changed the locks the next morning and filed for divorce that afternoon. That's when things got ugly. Christopher hired an aggressive divorce attorney, one of those sharks who advertise on billboards, and Christopher came after my business. His lawyer sent a letter demanding 50% of my company. Their argument, even though I'd started the business before we got married, it had grown significantly during our marriage, so Christopher was entitled to half of the marital growth in value. The business was worth approximately $8 million. Christopher wanted $4 million. $4 million. From the business I built while he was cheating on me in our bed. My lawyer, Patricia, was furious. She said, "He's got some nerve. Let me look into our options." But I was already thinking ahead because I knew something Christopher didn't know I knew. About 3 months before I caught him cheating, I'd noticed some irregularities in our business bank accounts. Small withdrawals, $500 here, $1,000 there, never enough to raise red flags, but frequent enough to add up. I assumed it was accounting errors, but after catching Christopher with his mistress, I decided to investigate. I hired a forensic accountant. What she found was damning. Over the past 2 years, Christopher had been embezzling money from my company. Not just a little, over $300,000 total. He'd been transferring small amounts to a personal account I didn't know about, then using that money to fund his affair. Expensive dinners, hotel rooms, jewelry, weekend trips. He even rented an apartment for his mistress, paid for with money stolen from my business. I had bank statements, transfer records, receipts for everything. The forensic accountant documented it all in a detailed report. But I didn't tell Christopher I knew. Not yet. Instead, I let him and his lawyer continue their aggressive demands. They wanted 50% of the business. They wanted spousal support. They wanted half of our house, our savings, everything. Christopher sent me texts. "You owe me this, Victoria. I supported your career. I sacrificed my own ambitions. The least you can do is split what we built together." What we built? As if he'd done anything but steal from it. His lawyer scheduled a deposition. They were going to grill me about the business finances, trying to maximize the value of what Christopher could claim. I showed up to that deposition with Patricia and 3 banker's boxes full of documents. Christopher's lawyer started strong. "Mrs. Morrison, isn't it true that during your marriage, the business grew from $1 million to $8 million in value?" "Yes." "And your husband supported you during this growth, correct?" "In what way?" "He provided emotional support, helped with business decisions, attended company events." He attended maybe 3 events in 8 years, and his business advice usually consisted of telling me to relax more. Christopher's lawyer frowned. "Regardless, the business grew during your marriage, which makes it marital property, subject to division." "I see." Then I nodded to Patricia. Patricia opened the first box. "Let's talk about my client's business finances, specifically the $300,000 that went missing over the past 2 years. Christopher's face went pale. "Missing?" his lawyer asked, clearly caught off guard. "Not missing," Patricia clarified. "Stolen. By Mr. Morrison." She laid out the forensic accountant report. Bank statements showing transfers from the business account to Christopher's secret account, credit card statements showing charges at luxury hotels, receipts for jewelry stores. "Your client," Patricia continued, "has been systematically embezzling money from my client's business to fund an extramarital affair. We have evidence of at least $300,000 in theft over 2 years. Christopher's lawyer looked at Christopher, who looked like he was going to be sick. "We'll need time to review," he stammered. "There's more," Patricia said, opening the second box. "We also have evidence that Mr. Morrison used company funds to rent an apartment for his mistress. The lease is in his name, but the payments came from the business account he had access to." She showed the lease agreement and corresponding bank transfers. "And finally," Patricia opened the third box, "we have testimony from the mistress herself." Christopher's eyes widened. "What?" "We contacted Miss Jennifer Hayes. She was very cooperative once we explained that she might be an accessory to embezzlement. She provided a sworn statement detailing the gifts, trips, and money your client gave her, all funded by stolen business assets." Christopher stood up. "This is bullshit. You can't—" "Sit down," his lawyer snapped. Patricia smiled. "So, let's discuss settlement terms. My client is willing to forego criminal charges for embezzlement, which carry a potential prison sentence of 5 to 10 years, in exchange for the following. Mr. Morrison receives nothing. No share of the business, no spousal support, no share of the house or savings. He signs away all claims to marital assets, and he returns whatever remains of the $300,000 he stole." "That's ridiculous," his lawyer said weakly. "The alternative," Patricia continued, "is we file criminal charges, embezzlement, fraud, theft. We have ironclad evidence. Mr. Morrison will face criminal prosecution, likely jail time, and civil suits from the business. Plus, he'll still get nothing in the divorce because courts don't award marital assets to spouses who commit economic crimes against the other party." The room was silent. Christopher looked at his lawyer. Can they actually do this? Yes, his lawyer said quietly. They can. So what do I do? His lawyer sighed. You take the deal. 2 weeks later, Christopher signed the settlement agreement. He got 0 from the business, 0 spousal support, 0 share of the house or savings, and he agreed to pay back the $300,000, a payment plan over 10 years because he didn't have that kind of money. The divorce was finalized 3 months later. Christopher tried to reach out once after everything was final. He sent a long email about how I ruined his life and destroyed him out of spite. I replied with one sentence. You destroyed yourself the moment you stole from my business and lied to my face. Through mutual friends, I heard that Christopher lost his job after word got out about the embezzlement. His